Whether you want to deadlift heavy without pain or simply bend your back to pick things off the ground without fear, no one likes to feel like they can't trust their back. So I'm going to show you exactly what I've done the last 6 years that has allowed me to deadlift over 500 pounds every single week, go on long bike rides, run, do whatever I want, and guarantee my workouts are optimal. I reduce my injury as much as possible, and what I'm currently doing to bulletproof my back for life. My name is Dr. Grant Elliott, and we've helped thousands with back pain and sciatica fully recover through our one-on-one online coaching program. And in this episode, I'm going to teach you my lower body warm-up to properly prepare your spine for training and some of the things I'm doing to bulletproof my back. Let's get right into my warm-up. I posted this on my Instagram the other day. If you're not following me there, you should. And I got tons of questions about, hey, can you break this down? What are the movements? Why are you doing them? So I'm going to go through my entire deadlift lower body warm up and break down each one and what I'm focusing on. All right, so first I just roll back aggressively. This actually gets me to pop my back a few times. Always is a good release. Then I go right into my classic dead bug exercise. With this movement, what I'm focusing on is I'm pushing my lower back flat into the floor. This is what engages your core the most. And then alternating the opposite arm and the opposite leg while maintaining that flat back. This is a primary example of proximal stability equals distal mobility. So I always start with a bracing core movement that is going to allow the rest of my extremities, my shoulders, my hips, my thoracic spine, all these other regions to then release, and then I can focus on them individually. For this, I perform 8 to 10 reps each side. Now I go into my hip fallouts. This is for adductor activation. What I'm doing is with my arms stretched out, still focusing on my core, I'm slowly lowering one leg out without flexing the glute. That's a key thing. Do not flex the glute. Just let the leg slowly rotate out. This is a good eccentric contraction for the adductor. And then of course, concentric as well as you raise it up. Great for adductor hip mobility and priming the inner groin. For these, I do 3 to 5 reps each side. Then I just rotate one leg over the other, get another quick back crack. Quick reminder, like the video. Now I rotate up into my 90-90 hip mobility position. Now before I go through the 90-90 transition that everybody sees on my page and over the internet, I get into the position and I hinge back and forth, bringing my elbow or my chest towards my front knee, and then trying to rotate my elbow towards the back foot. I rotate back and forth to open up my hips. Now I sit in this position and I hinge into it and I do a contract, relax, contract, relax. Now I focus on the rear leg. I call this my external rotation lift off. Just really an isometric, nice end range motion. And then I do the opposite, internal rotation lift off. These are very difficult. You're sure to get some cramps while you do this, but it helps you focus on the exact muscles in the end range of the joint that controls these more fine movements. For the lift offs, I do 5 reps, both in external and internal rotation on both sides. Now I transition back and forth in a specific way. As you'll see, I'm always leading with the front leg. So I rotate one knee up first, then I follow through, then I rotate the rear one, and then I follow through. So I do this in a specific way to get the most out of it. I do 3 to 5 transitions each way of this 90-90, going really slow, focusing on opening my hips as much as I can. Now I simply just close the angle of the legs and I go right into my oblique sit position. On this, I focus on the rear leg adductor and the front leg glute. Going up, staying as tall as you can while you do it, lowering nice and slow, just tapping the glute and coming right back up. Great for hip mobility and hip stability. I do 5 reps each side of this. Now I go into my dynamic puppy, starting to focus on my spine a bit. This focuses on shoulder mobility and thoracic spine extension, which is very important for different squatting and deadlifting motions to have proper spine mechanics while you do that. Now I sit back into our frog pose. I spread my hips wide. I'm sitting back as deep as I possibly can to open up my hips, transitioning into my tactical frog, where as you rotate up, you internally rotate one side back and forth, adding extra motion to this. Next is my lumbar extensions. So I've been sitting most of the day, right? Most of us do. So let's give the low back some extension. Once again, preparing our body to resist flexion-based forces. So squatting heavy, deadlifting heavy. I want to maintain as an upright posture as I possibly can. So this is going to help reduce and counteract some of that flexion I've already had throughout the day. Then just some side lying adduction. I do about 5 to 6 reps each side, just kind of warming up the adductors now. And then I go into my hip uprighting exercise. This is a very great glute med hip stability based movement. I perform it nice and slow and methodically. I do about 5 reps each side, really focusing on the glute as you do this. Once again, performing these on each side. side. And lastly, because this is a deadlift workout, I do perform my swimmers, my prone swimmers, because this is great for improving shoulder mobility, activating my lats, getting my upper back working as well. All things I'm going to be using for deadlifts and for posterior chain workout. I do 5 to 6 reps. Hey, real quick, I know you're struggling with pain and obviously want to fix it. So if you just text me the word pain to 317-751-9509, I will send you my free back pain fix demo. Just text that number and you can fix your pain. Thank me later. Back to the show. Now I want to get my hamstrings activated, so I just perform some free weight RDLs, right? Just hinging back and forth, getting that pattern down, warming up my hamstrings. And then I do single leg RDLs as well, focusing on balance, activates my feet, and once again, just provides a little bit more requirement from the hamstrings to do it with one leg. So this is going to help me prepare for my deadlifting motion. Then I want to warm up my spine into flexion 2, because even though I'm going to try to stay upright, deadlifts are still going to require me to be pulled forward, and I want my body to be prepared for that. So I grab a medicine ball or a kettlebell and I allow myself to do essentially a Jefferson curl, right? I'm rounding my back forward. I'm allowing my back to stretch, my hamstrings to stretch, and to warm up to some flexion load. And when I do this, I always feel some new tissues kind of crack and pull, things that I know are necessary. So now my spine is truly prepared for deadlifts. So now let's get into the deadlifts. I'm going to show you exactly how I progress these as I worked up to 500 pounds today. I just start with the bar for a few reps. Then I put a 1 plate or 135 pounds for usually about 5 to 6 reps. Then 2 plates, 225 pounds for 4 to 5 reps. Then 3 plates, 315 pounds for usually 3 reps. Then 4 plates, 405 pounds for 2 reps. And then I put in 5 plates, 495 pounds or 500 pounds. Let's round up here, right? Who's counting? And I perform this for as many as I possibly can. This particular day, I was able to squeeze out 7, which I was very happy with. I push myself in my training. I give it all or nothing. That's how I love to lift. The rest of the workout was basically a pretty standard posterior chain workout. So some more back stuff, some more hamstring stuff, yada, yada. But now at the end, I've been incorporating a lot more spine bulletproofing work for core, for hips, and for my low back specifically. Quick reminder, like the video. So let's get into some of those now. I will work into some Jefferson curls at the end of the workout to load my spine in this motion a bit more. Then I do different variations of this. One I like to do is I get a really wide stance, pretty much as wide as I possibly can. I hold a kettlebell or a medicine ball basically on my chest, like a front rack position. And I initially perform a hinging motion. So it's like a really wide stance, good morning. And then I allow my back to flex and round so I can get as close to the ground as possible. This is a totally different demand for my hips, for my adductors, for my hamstrings. And once again, it's loading my spine in a neutral and non-neutral position. This is crucial because while I'm training, I'm pretty much only doing spine neutral based movements, but you need to be able to train your spine in non-neutral positions too to bulletproof it. So from there, I go into some cross body swings. I'm not sure what else to call it, but get in a hinge position, grab a kettlebell, swing it back and forth as much as you can. A great rotational load that's going to use your core and use your hips and just expose your spine to different forces. Next is the kneeling windmill, one of my absolute favorites. Getting in a kneeling position, hold the kettlebell or the weight up on the leg that is up and rotate down, putting your hand on the floor, rotating, right? And slowly come back up. This is great for working your hips and your QL. And once again, loading your spine through a bending and rotational force. Perform these on both sides. You can also do this in a standing position, a standing windmill. For this one, you angle your feet both away from the arm that is holding the weight. You put your arm on your leg and you just slide that arm down as far as you can, looking straight up at the weight and performing repetitively. Another great force for your hips, for your QLs, for your low back stabilizers, all these things in a non-neutral position. These are some of many back bulletproofing movements that I like to do towards the end of my spine training days to help expose my body to many different things, because so many people are afraid of bending their spine or loading their spine in these ways, but your spine is capable of doing it because your tissues can adapt. It's not helpful to live your life in neutral and to only train your spine in one way. If you're dealing with a low back injury, I understand. Let me help you through that first. Let me help resolve the root issue so then you can get into neutral spine training. And then once you can get strong with neutral spine training, then we can get into non-neutral spine training so you can have a strong back in all different ways. But you should eventually be able to get to that point. Now, if you're just stuck in pain or you're stuck in kind of this limbo, every time you try to get back to training, you flare up, then don't worry because I've got something for you. Just text me the word pain to 317-751-9509 to get a tailored step-by-step plan to permanently fix your back and sciatica issues using my centralization process. Do it right now so you don't miss the opportunity to finally change your life forever and live without pain. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, join my private Facebook group, RehabFix Low Back Program, for more free content, resources, and guides. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.